will be reviewing The White Tiger by Aravind Adiga, or Aravind Adiga, depending on your pronunciation. I guess they are both good because Aravind Adiga is Advaitan, how Advaitans would say it. So I guess it's a good pronunciation as any. It's names. I mean, my name is said in 30 different styles. It's fine. Um, so this book I read a while ago, and it's interesting how I came to know of this book and how I decided to read it. So I attend a unit, a class called Development and Development Assistance. Very interesting class, and we were made to read one of three novel choices that would give us an impression of what it is like to living in a developing country. So in a way, I was looking to reading this book in a different perspective than probably most people would while reading this book. Um, Something else before I get to the review. I bought this from awesomebooks.com, and someone was using a 10 rupee note as a bookmark and left it there, and basically that's like 10 euro cents. So um, yeah, I would have returned it, but the postage costed more than that. So now this book is about Balram. Actually, as a young boy, he didn't even have that name. It was just called Boy. Um, I forgot what that is, but he was just called that. And then the school teacher gave him this, his name. And later on, also related to the title, a school master or a visiting someone above a teacher, visiting his school because he was a very intelligent boy. He told him that he is like a white tiger, which is a very rare creature and is above all other tigers. Um, it's the title is also the company that he later on built, and there's the analogy represented in some scenes, especially when at one point he's at a zoo, and you have to see what happens, but that was very interesting. If you look at my cover, there is also a rooster, which is another analogy. There is the chicken coop analogy, where basically there in this book there is a discrepancy between the masters and the servants, because the servants have to be jack of all trades, they have to know a lot of stuff, but they are taken for granted. They are part of the family, but very much expendable. And Balaram says that they are all stuck in a chicken coop. They complain a lot and they do certain things to get revenge on their masters, but overall it's very small and definitely not what's needed. I liked the inserts on like 2 pages. One of them is like how to cheat your own master to get more money because they're not paid enough. In this book, I have to say I enjoyed the first half more than the last part. It says so, it's not really much of a spoiler, but there's a murder, and I knew it was coming. Then I stopped reading it for a while, but I had to continue reading. Um, so in a way, yes, there is a murder, and it could have been avoidable, but it helped his character development. Um, what the writing style is very everyday men. You will see certain phrases which are commonly used, especially by the servants. For example, uh, tipping the beak is like having sex. This book is also good as an overview of Indian society. There are words in italics which I suggest you look up so that you know what they mean, and it's very interesting to see like these cultural pinpoints. I have to say that this book is written in a series of letters to the Chinese premier, the Chinese Prime Minister Jinbao, and it's a series of letters that becomes less and less formal as they progress, and it's about how to be an entrepreneur because India has a lot of those, he says, and he's one of them. He managed to become from a servant, actually from a small boy who was really good at school but really had an unfortunate background. In fact, there is the caste system mentioned, and it's also mentioned how it's disrupted, how he comes from the hallway caste, which basically are sweet makers, but his father was a driver, but a rickshaw driver, not a taxi driver. He later becomes a taxi driver and then a personal driver because in India it's really not suggested that you drive on your own because there's lots of traffic. There's mentions, especially in the early books, of how um, like the river is polluted, how animals such as the buffalo, which they get their money from its milk, how that is above almost anyone else in the family, how there's corruption and landlords, and how the land is divided between the landlords. Later on, you see corruption in government officials, in police. It's interesting how, with the murder, he picks on the traits of the person that he murdered, and he later becomes like the owner of the police, or at least they protect him. He takes on various aspects of the person that he murdered, his character. It's interesting to see his shift in society with the money that he had and with the position that he made of himself. Then there's like shadowing in the part. There is an action which really tore him apart and tore his master's marriage apart. I'm not saying which, but the same action is presented when he's a business owner, and you see the way that he deals with it. That also now he owns the police and everyone else, whereas before he was one of their pawns. So you see like the effect that money has actually, the effect that money has on relations within society. There's mentions how everyone looks the same, and basically it's a good book to get the general feel of society and how Indians, most Indians feel there, because there is mentions like how visitors or tourists, they idolize the place, especially the river, the Ganga, but really you shouldn't. He says don't even go in there, don't even go in the water. There's I liked how his character became stronger. At the same time, he became weaker. He took on traits which were not ideal. He's definitely no gentleman throughout the book. His views on women are not exactly ideal. Um, there's mentions of the red light district, and the difference between the red light district for servants and for the landlords. I think that this book is a must read for someone that is interested in the Asian region or in India. I, for one, am very much interested in South Asia, so this book you won't definitely like the story or like what you're reading, but you will get why it it's described like that, why Adiga uses certain language. It's like he's instigating a certain amount of righteous anger in you because things should be not like that, but they are like that. He's putting it as it is, maybe exaggerating at some points, but using that exaggeration to show you what there really is and to sort of open your eyes. So in a way, although I did not like certain aspects of the plot, I understand why they are like that. And this book, it was the winner of the Man Booker Prize in 2008, and I get why with all of his competitors he won. So maybe I will read something else by him. The style is definitely nice and is very realistic. Um, and as I said, I did not like certain parts of the plot, but I get why they were like that. So I think this is a book that almost everyone should read, and it's eye-opening. It will also get you to think of some things and in your own society as well, and it will give you hints of what Indian life is like for the everyday man and also maybe for the rich. So I would also recommend this book. It's I mean it's highly praised and I get why it's highly praised. Also, it has great cover art. So yeah, nice cover always makes up for some things. For now, that's it. I hope that this review made you want to pick the book up or made you interested. Hopefully, yeah. Bye. The chicken or well, yeah, it's a chicken coop.